Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 8th episode of Beneath the Surface, an A&G Concrete Pools podcast. As always, I'm your host, Luke Hannon, and today I have the pleasure of being joined by Territory Service Manager of Jandy and Fluidra, O'Neill German, and Territory Sales Manager of Jandy and Fluidra, Eric Berger. How are you guys doing today?
Doing well. Thank you, Luke, for having us.
Better than I deserve. I'm sitting in a beautiful office today, away from that hot sun,
And you're in the AC.
and in good company.
Yeah.
It's an important thing this time of year. So I think the best place to start with all of this, obviously A&G has a long-standing relationship with Jandy and Fluidra, and that partnership goes back multiple decades now at this point. But I'm curious of your individual journeys. O'Neill, how did you start? How did you get involved with Fluidra, and what's the journey been like since then?
Well, it's been a roller coaster of a ride learning a whole new industry. I was blessed and privileged to come into this industry after leaving the appliance industry. And Fluidra was just so welcoming, taught me so much in such a short period of time. And throughout that learning process, A&G having a long-term relationship with Fluidra also kind of fell right into the role of welcoming someone who's new into the industry and really using my skills and my abilities to kind of fall into a team that was already built. And it's been truly an amazing journey. I've had the opportunity to understand the pool industry as a whole, seeing how builders like yourselves truly operate from the sales aspect all the way up to that first dip in the pool that the pool owners tend to enjoy. And seeing that process helps me and my talents come into play in the sense that I finally know how it should be, and I can work with our company and the support that we offer to fill in any issues or problems that may arise. So it's been great. I'll say being in the customer service industry for quite a while, longer than I expected to, it's given me a blessed of a dynamic in communication in terms of really understanding every little aspect of the experience people have. And the pool industry was so welcoming in the sense that everybody kind of knows each other, being in an industry that kind of raises you up. And they did the same with me. And it's only been a couple years here. So within these short amount of time, and not just with the company, but in the industry as a whole, it's almost like I fell right into two families that were having a picnic. It was great.
Eric, what about you? How has your journey been? Have you felt that same kind of familial aspect of the industry as you've sort of progressed inside of it?
Oh my gosh, where to begin? 28 years, August, I've been in the swimming pool industry. And, you know, they say once you get in, you don't get out. And I was just looking for a job when I was 16, you know, filling chlorine jugs at a local pool store here in Port St. Lucie. And then, you know, as you grow through the process of filling chlorine, you know, testing water, making chemicals, back in the day it was safe. You know, now it's all packaged, but, you know, doing all that and then slowly progressing into working for a wholesale distribution company and then moving into the manufacturing side. I've been doing manufacturing for, it's going to be 7 years. And, you know, seeing every piece to the puzzle of from the retail side to the distribution and on the manufacturing, it's been a great journey. Built a lot of relationships when it comes to homeowners that I've always had relationships with from the pool store days. And then the same thing goes with my clients. You know, having that relationship has helped myself grow. It's helped the Jandy brand grow, along with a lot of our other proprietary products that we have under our umbrella.
How have you seen, as someone who's been in the industry for such a long period of time, how have you seen it change over that course, particularly on your side? I mean, you're talking even there, you mentioned the chemicals, but I'm sure the equipment has changed in such a grand way. I'm sure that even the relationships you have with a builder, someone like an A&G, has altered because the industry has expanded in such a large way and the projects are getting more and more complex as we continue to evolve them. Has there been any kind of big turning point that you've seen, or do you think it's been kind of a steady growth and a improvement as a whole over the last 2 decades?
So the last 2 decades have been great for the pool business. You know, we ran into the boom in 2007, 2008, and it kind of sent us back a little bit here in St. Lucie County. And then, you know, overall in the pool industry, permits were down. As the growth started to develop after that, a lot of innovating products were coming out from Fluidra, Jandy brand. So, you know, we've got into, you know, on the CMP side, you know, our main drains, which are Virginia Grammy Baker acted. Then we have our pool pumps, which are, you know, variable speed. That became a really big focus because we're here to preserve energy, you know, try to keep the electric bill down. So by rolling out variable speed pumps, we're able to optimize the flow of the pool water, better filtration, and along with doing that, a crystal clear water as long as the pool is balanced properly. And that's always hard because in South Florida and anywhere, you know, we're never going to know what's going to happen every day. It can rain at our house, and across the street, it's nice and hot. And you have the neighbor outside with the umbrella, like, what's going on here? And the other one's smiling and laughing at him, saying, ha ha. But, you know, as we're in 2025, the pool industry has changed. You know, we are more innovative, more friendly when it comes to, you know, our iAqualink and our cleaners, you know, being able to handle that at the palm of your hand. So we've definitely graduated all the way from a long time from, you know, the early 90s to 2000s. As you know, 2010s, if you don't move forward, you're always, you know, stuck behind.
As the objective person who came into the industry, fresh off the rack, right?
Yeah.
What I keep hearing is there's a more consumer and at the same time builder-based innovation in our company that allows that experience, both the building, but also right down to the consumer. It's more centric towards what the industry has needed. A lot of the portion of my job that's interesting to me when dealing with people that have been in the industry for so long is I came in at the cusp of that change that he's referring to. And sometimes it's just a matter of education. Maybe the old way has been working great for years, but there's a new way, there's a better way. And seeing that light bulb light up in their eyes when you present an easier way of doing what they've been doing for years, I think those are the days that I get back in my truck and I'm happy.
And I think it's a great point, and I, not dissimilar to you, O'Neill, am relatively new, all things considered. I've been in the pool industry now for about 3 years, and it is so unique because you have these individuals who it's a multi-generational business. It's been their family. They've done things a certain way for 40, 50 years, and it's worked, and it's provided an incredible living for them and their loved ones, and they've been able to create a great product. But there's still that element of what comes next. And I think that process of helping to educate people with those new technologies, with something like the iAqualink system, with automation, how do we integrate that? How do we make sure that the client experience is constantly improving? Because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. As much as we as builders want to make sure that our relationships are good, we want to make sure we're able to build the product, having the ability to make that end result, whatever that may be, something that is not only better in the current moment, but is going to have that longevity, is going to have 5, 10, 15 years. O'Neill, I want to ask you, because you're on that service side of seeing those pools after the fact, and sort of what are the items that are happening, what's it like, Eric alluded to it, being in Florida? It's such a unique environment in terms of the heat, in terms of how it wears on different materials, the way that things are subjected to the outdoor environment. Is there something that you see that is entirely unique to the service process in our state?
I do, because we have such a great team in the service side of our company. We communicate very well and have the opportunity to really engage with each other on seeing what are the differences as our product line spreads throughout the entire U.S. and now expanding to the Caribbean. And what's unique about Florida is it's 24/7, 365. That being said, that sun is beaming on that equipment 24/7, 365. And if you're familiar with the climate in Florida, I mean, especially where we're at, every afternoon during a certain season, it's guaranteed going to rain. And not just regular rain. We're talking that rain upside down rain, that rain coming from the sides rain. So that being said, there's the natural occurrence with any technology, no matter how innovative they may be, no matter how well manufactured, produced, installed, you're going to have situations that occur. We just happen to be more prevalent to, as we refer to it, the forces of nature.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an interesting dynamic in the sense that we can't always figure out or predict what can happen, but granted the opportunity to get that information. For example, you guys are great partners in informing us, hey, we noticed that this variable speed pump, although well sealed from manufacturing, at some point had some kind of water intrusion. Could you help us figure out what it is? Sure. By the time I show up, when you have a good partner, they're usually referring to all the mitigating situations that can cause it, right? There's a lot of homes that don't have proper drainage, and it's falling right on their equipment. Mm. There's sprinkler heads that, for whatever reason, want to be aiming directly towards the equipment. There's the monsoons I was referring to that usually happen. Having the opportunity to kind of engage with good partners and learn what aspects can actually contribute to the downfall of any product, yeah, that definitely helps. And it also prepares the rest of the nation that is also utilizing our products and knowing what situations to avoid. Granted, I don't think they have the issues we have in Florida, I'll say in the Midwest somewhere. But it definitely gives us a lot to explore. And I say probably pioneers in trial by error when it comes to making sure our product lasts as we expect it to last.
Yeah, so we want to take everything that we can from our end user to take it back to the factory. We're really big on quality cases. The last thing we want to do is have products go out or a single product and run into a situation where it hinders a very long time. Mm-hmm. Our goal is to get it back to quality. Let's figure out what's going on, make the adjustment, and we also are very transparent. We let our customers know that, hey, we are running into an issue. We are going to take care of it. If there's something else that we need to do to help the homeowner out, we're going to do that because we want to have a good taste of the Jandy brand with the homeowner, knowing that they're always going to feel that we're taking care of them as the number one client.
Well, I think it's a great point because there's only so much kind of laboratory and field testing one can do.
Exactly.
You can never account for, once it's out in the real world, what's really happening, what are the more severe conditions. But to your point, I think having a partner, the partnership that we have with Fluidra and you guys have with A&G, is one that is mutually beneficial in a way that improves both what we're doing. Because obviously we want to install the best product that we absolutely can. We want to make sure that the client has something that's going to work as long as it can, that can sustain all of the weather that it's going to inevitably come across. And at the same time, if we can give you guys that kind of on the ground, hey, we're noticing this consistently happen on these kind of homes. And it might be something that's hyper specific. But as we mentioned, you guys are rolling out on a national and now sort of multinational level, having more and more of a database to refer to of here's things that we might be susceptible to. Let's go back to the R&D team. Let's go back to the manufacturers and see, are there small tweaks and small adjustments that can be made?
The beauty of this company is that it doesn't just stand behind its product and uplift the people to be pioneers in the education, like I said earlier, about the innovation it brings to the industry. It also holds a new standard to the pool industry as a whole. I think Eric can allude to it a little better than I can, but seeing the interactions at distribution on a daily basis as he does, I've actually seen him engage and discuss with both builders and servicers alike on the opportunities that they're missing out on just because they weren't even aware it's there. And the follow-up is where we're kind of differentiated from any of our competitors. And in that follow-up, you get to see the opportunity of these people growing, not just because they're using our product, although it helps, but rather it's almost like they're tuning into a different way of building pools, servicing their pools, utilizing the product they've probably been using for years. And that's a pretty cool thing to see.
Well, I think the industry as a whole is continuing to elevate itself. And with that comes a desire to learn more and a desire to have a greater understanding of, hey, I've been using Jandy pumps for the last 10 years, but what's really available to me when we talk about something like variable speed? Why do I really want to do that? What's something, because then you can turn around as the builder, our side example, and say to the homeowner, we understand sustainability is important to you. We understand that in this current economic state, like every penny matters. You want to know where your money's going, and we're going to be able to kind of assist you that you're making a large scale investment. We're going to keep those run costs down for you long term. We're not going to have some outsized number associated with you just doing standard running of your pool. So, Eric, what has that relationship been like on those conversations with a builder, with someone who might even be a longtime partner, but there's so much new that you guys have to offer as a result of what you're innovating in the space with?
Yeah, great question. So, when you're having those conversations for customers that have been doing this for 10 plus years, or maybe someone getting in, they are strictly stuck on their ways. Some are. And they're like, hey, I've been doing this for 10 years, 15 years. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. Once you have that conversation, you can sit down and explain to them the ease and how well it can open up their portfolio to help the customer that they have and show them, look, we can give you the best crystal clear pool with the best filtration. You're going to have automation where you don't have to worry about going to a panel and touch anything. You can just grab a smartphone device. The iAqualink enables that for the homeowner. It makes their pool experience much better and more enjoyable. On our app, everything is really on the dashboard. You don't have to go to different categories to figure something out on different devices. You have one device, smart device. You can log into it, and you can set your heater. You can go to your lights. You can turn on a blower. You can turn on your heater when you're in the hot tub by pressing just a button. And then as we go through that, we have saltwater chlorinating. We have something called ozone. We have ozone UV, which is AOP. This is more of a secondary system to help with your salt system. That's going to help kill 99% of all the bacteria in the pool. Also, it's going to give you a better swimming experience. You're going to feel the difference when you're in the pool. As we move from that, we can go into our lighting. Our lighting is our new innovation. We call them infinite lights. Those lights will give you multiple zones, up to 4. So if you're a huge football fan, or if you're all about the holidays and you want to have different colors and pick your specific color that you want, you can do that. You can have as many lights in the pool that you want, that you need, and adjust them that way up to 4 zones. And then we start moving into our portfolio to the Polaris side, where we have robotics that are cordless or corded, which will enhance the water clarity because you're not running the pool pump harder. You can actually back it down a little bit, so you have a secondary filtration system with your cleaners. And then we move into handrails. We have automatic covers, and then the Oasis that A&G does. They're a really good partner when it comes to Grand Effects. When they're doing our fire water bowls, or a fire or a water bowl, just giving you that extra ambiance in the backyard. All that can be controlled through the iAqualink app.
Well, I think that's how these spaces have evolved. I think when we look at just sort of at the turn of the millennium, they were really kind of separated. It was, you have your interior space, you have your house, you have some amount of decking around, and then you have the swim body of water. And that's kind of all there really was. And now here we stand 25 years later, and I think less and less so you can really define those lines. And I think that's intentional. I think people want to create a space that is in conversation with the interior of their home. They want it to make sense aesthetically. They want that same ease that they have from a smart home system, whether that's a Google or an Alexa or something of that nature. They want to be able to carry that same kind of intuitive nature out to the backyard. Because the last thing you want is when you're outside and you're like, it's time to enjoy the spa. I want to relax after a nice long day. Let me go twist 3 or 4 different valves and press 2 things on my control panel. And then I've done them out of sequence, and now my pool's draining, and what do I do, and all those kind of things. So I think it's fantastic that you guys are taking those steps to make that more approachable. I know we had a conversation before we started recording of how important it is to bring those educational resources and make those things intuitive, because the pool isn't something that people have spent their entire lifetimes thinking about. Generally, it's they've reached a certain precipice of life, whether that's having new members of their family, whether that's reaching retirement, whether that's reaching a new financial area, and they decide that that's the time to invest in their home, invest in their backyard, and create this outdoor space. Where have you guys seen the biggest leaps in terms of those educational things? Is it something like iAqualink, where you're kind of bringing that language down to a more ground level where people can understand it because of their affinity and their understanding of smartphones? Is it the nature in which you develop those robotic cleaners, or?
You know, it's funny because we live in a world now where knowledge is at the touch of our fingertips. And we still, at our company, rely on the relationships that have been built, that are being built through not just on the day-to-day conversations to grow that consumer base and also to grow that experience for the consumers. We also provide all of our partners the opportunity in what's called Fluidra Pro Academy to learn about our products as they're manufactured and what's to be manufactured. And that opportunity allows them to better engage with the consumers, meaning when they're in the sales process of building out the pool, you guys do a very good job of presenting the idea before it actually comes into fruition. But knowing the product to the point that allows you guys to really introduce and paint that picture of what is going to be built comes through our Fluidra Pro Academy. It's available for anybody in our that's a pool pro in the industry. But I think that education truly transfers over to that consumer base to have a better understanding of what they're getting, the expectation and quality of what they're getting, and also their use and maximizing the use of what they're getting. That being said, like I started, everything being at the base of your phone, we have the opportunity to kind of introduce all these bells and whistles through a great marketing team that we have. We also have various social media platforms in which Drop a Jandy campaign, for example, comes in. It teaches the entire pool industry how simple and easy it is to replace a pump that might have been from a competitor and just drop in our perfect replacement for that pump, filter, whatever the situation calls for. So I think we do a great job at Fluidra in providing the marketing that kind of educates as it introduces product.
How important do you think it is to have a dynamic product line like that where it can be sort of modular? When someone has an existing pool system, they have an existing equipment set, they want to make an upgrade, you guys can go in and it doesn't require a complete redo of that equipment. Is that something that you guys are thinking about all the way at the beginning on that development side?
When being taught about our product line, there's always that understanding of not only bringing what we bring to the table, but studying what the industry has been using and does use so that we can make it better. So I think in the heart of all of our product line, we're constantly listening to the consumer, constantly listening to the needs of the builders, of the service personnel. And that allows for that modular dynamic to be part of the manufacturing process. Yeah. We also seek to make better what is good. And you can't do that without listening, without retrieving information. So I think the entire R&D process has to have that. I get to see it firsthand in the field.
But it's all symbiotic, particularly on your side, because you're out there usually when something's gone awry.
Yes.
So you're kind of live diagnosing issues and seeing what might happen, and then you can bring that information back to the larger manufacturing partners and say, hey, we're consistently seeing this issue in this part of the country. What are we going to kind of do to address that? And I think that's one of the most unique things about Fluidra as a whole is you guys are a multinational. You're expanding the product line consistently. As you mentioned, you're sort of acquiring different companies that have been in the industry and improving upon their products, so that can be an element, even if it's something small like a fire feature that might not be for every pool. It's still a better experience than it was 5 or 10 years ago. And at the same time, you still have that boots on the ground. You're talking directly with the client. You're seeing what the issue is. What is it like having the support of such a large company, particularly in the context of the swimming pool industry, but still having all those individual experiences with clients, understanding where they're coming from, what their day-to-day looks like, how they're using the pool, and then what you guys can bring back to both the manufacturing side, but also to us as builders and say, hey, maybe there's a better implementation here. Maybe there's a better piece of equipment that would have suited this particular feature.
There's a a huge sense of relief that no matter what situation we're walking into, we know that if we properly assess it and bring the information to, by the way, shout out to our quality team, who's truly the ones that take in all this information that myself and the sales hear and learn about in the field. They take this information, gather it, see what's real, see what can be remedied, but more importantly, bring that information into fruition in a better sense so that any future product that comes out doesn't encounter the same thing. But it gives us a lot of peace of mind that whatever our partners might be enduring in the aspect of the reliability of the products, we know we can fix it. We know that we can stand behind the brand, we can stand behind the product, and ultimately what everybody wants is for people to enjoy their pools.
Yeah.
The customer understanding that we've got your back. We're going to have that conversation with you. We're taking it all the way to the top. We're going to make those adjustments. But, a handshake goes a long way. The conversation, the sit down, when they feel that you say what you do and you do what you say, that's when the relationship grows. And that's what sets us apart from our competition and other competitors out in the marketplace, because I hold myself to the Fluidra values big time, because I want to be able to give you the most reliable information and know that I'm always going to be there for you. I will handle any of the back stuff on my side, but you're my number one goal. Your customers are number one goal. With us working together with you to fix it, you have a voice and everybody is important. Other competitors are the complete opposite. We want to take that. We want you to know that you've been heard. We do a lot of social media. And then, we are very, very open with talking to you further with the R&D department and quality control to say, hey, this is what's going on. What have you thought? What have you seen in the field? As you know, we walk up to a job O'Neill does and the homeowner is upset that a piece of equipment isn't working. We're in the Florida sun. It's July. It's 104 degrees outside. Whether it's the technician from the pool builder or service company, they're sweating. They've already got yelled at. It is our values, our job to come have the conversation and let you know that, we're here for you. Things happen. We all run through the same thing in our own life where something may not work, a washing machine. Go figure from, O'Neill's back in the day.
Yeah.
Maybe a fridge. Those key necessities really drive us crazy. So, things do happen, but we are here to give you an optimistic, positive approach and very calm to know that we are here for you.
And I think that's something that, even in my limited experience with you guys directly, because obviously there are more relevant individuals at A&G who you're usually speaking with, but it is that sense of you are always there, you are always available, even to do something like this, to come and have conversations like these and to kind of do it for the net benefit of the pool consumer and to give them all the resources that they might have. Because we know it's an industry where, unfortunately, there's a bit of a stereotype of companies that don't finish the jobs that they say, companies that take longer than they anticipate, sort of additional costs coming in. We obviously pride ourselves on the transparency. That's something from the very beginning that we're always going to bring to our clients. And one of the key reasons we can do that is because we have a partner like Fluidra backing us, and we know what the price of the pumps are going to be. We know that the pump is going to be there physically when it's time to build it. We know that if there's an issue 2.5 years down the road, that you guys are going to be going out and servicing that pump under the warranty. So that's what allows us to function at the level we do. I'm curious on your side what the relationship with A&G has been like, and sort of if it was something that when it was brought to you that you guys would be working with us, it was like, hey, these guys are a large scale builder. Obviously, we've got the top 50 plaque right here that you guys so kindly brought by today.
Beautiful
So
The proof is in the pudding.
there is some sense of we aren't a local mom and pop. We are kind of someone a bigger scale. We're going to build somewhere between 200 and 400 pools a year. There is a lot of kind of weight and pressure, I imagine, that would come with handling a client like that. But at the same time, I'm sure you guys approach these as you do every client, where it's about the relationship, it's about the conversations, about the availability, and making sure that we're both working together to have that final product be as good as it can be.
Absolutely. pool builders have come and gone. You know, A&G is one of the leading builders in St. Lucie County. They've been around 30 plus years, I'm going to say.
Almost 40 now.
Almost 40, wow.
Yeah.
So I'm 28 in the business. I've been dealing with A&G for about 20 years. So, you know, that longevity, and it's not just your fly-by-night, hey, I'm here. It's starting from the ground up and working your way through. You know, Travis has been running the company for 10 plus years.
Yeah, he was partner in the mid 2010s, and obviously now is full owner, and it's sort of, I think, taken on an even greater life as he's done that, because it's just been more expansion and more innovation.
He's taken A&G into the next chapter, and he's always looking ahead. So by A&G doing that, you know, they're setting themselves apart from everybody else around them. So when you look at pool builders and you want to see longevity, you know, we know A&G for the 20 plus years of relationship. My colleagues that came here before, between the Scott Frost and the Enrique Gomez and the Danny Schiffmans, they built a great standing relationship with A&G, with Art, and then with Travis, and keeping that going. I've been very gracious and lucky to be calling on A&G full time, and just keeping what they've started moving forward, and then helping grow, and, you know, help out whenever there is an issue, or O'Neill jumps in and handles it. So, you know, it's kind of full circle.
Jumping in and helping it. I think I got a perfect picture to paint on that one. It was intimidating at first because, like he pointed out, we had predecessors that had a long-standing relationship, a relationship that was based on trust, on honesty, on follow through. And there's a sense in which you want to live up to that and continue that going. Pass the baton, I'll run as fast as I can kind of idea. But going back to what I was saying in the beginning, the welcoming that I had in this industry was really portrayed in the sense that there was always help. There was always the opportunity to learn. There was always a dynamic in where someone was there to kind of guide and lead. And A&G has done that for me in the sense that I did not get the opportunity to work with Art or anyone from the past, but I did get to work immediately with Travis. And you see the vision. You see the vision very clearly just by the way he presents the company, what they stand for, the people, the caring of the people, the caring of the product, the caring of the consumer and end user. Seeing that dynamic fall right in line with all of our values, it made it so much easier. The sense of urgency would be there for any builder, any partner that we have, any warranty station that requires our support and our help. And that is my job. You know, you get called to do your job. That's what you pick up the phone for. That's what you show up for all day. But there's a difference when the people that are calling on the other end as partners to get whatever's needed to get done. And there's a bigger difference when you have the same end goal. Like I keep saying it. We all want people to enjoy their pools, their backyard.
Yeah, it's that alignment, I think, that makes the relationship so natural.
Yes.
And makes it so easy for us to have all these conversations. And for you guys, when you are always willing to offer us the helping hand when we need it, and vice versa, it is in the best interest of that final product. And knowing that we're all sort of pushing towards that same goal, I think allows us to be better partners for one another, along with being as great a manufacturer, as great a sales rep, as great a service rep, as great a builder as we can be. I think that all is kind of driving in the same direction. So the one final thing I'm curious about as we continue about that driving direction moving forward is, what do you guys see on the horizon, maybe of the industry as a whole, maybe specifically of Fluidra? Is there a movement that you think will be taking place over the next few years?
Well, let's talk about what is current, right?
Yeah.
Because nothing is more tangible than what we can see, feel, and hear.
Yeah.
And that being said, variable speed pumps is a thing that nationwide has become the thing. But the returns on the pools, they also require adjustments to now this variable speed of output, of flow into the pool, right? We've got it. By acquiring CMP, we now also provide to the pool industry a whole new way of installing your returns. I think we have definitely innovated when it comes to our infinite lights. Not only the ability to have a whole different aspect of creating your own color, having the different zones, like Eric pointed out, but there's also the ease of installation and end users having just about anything they want done with their pool lighting now. Dimmability of it, assessing different zones to different colors. I think that that in itself shows a direction that we're heading towards. Our saltwater chlorine generators, as effective as they have been, some progress that we've done, assessing the situations of the past and seeing where we can innovate and become better. We now are coming out with True Clear XL. We also have our new Jandy line of our AOP. So there's definitely a growth in the equipment base that we currently have that is different than, let's say, just 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
The most important thing is understanding that you have a swimming pool. You want to be out there. It's family driven. We all know the economy, not to get on a tangent on that, but we all know life is more expensive now. So if you can be home, have family over, football season's here, and spend that time with your family members, loved ones, and possibly neighbors, if you like them or not. But, just having everybody together in the backyard, everybody starts talking, and you're showing them what you have and how perfect your pool is. You have done something very good for yourself and your family. You worked hard. Remember, Jandy is always going to be there to assist you with A&G. You can also check out our website, jandy.com, to look at what O'Neill was talking about. You can go into our lighting, and then we have a demo that you can adjust and kind of play with the app of the Infinite Lights.
Yeah, I think it's a great resource that you guys have had. And again, when we talk about the pool space, visualization is so important. And being able to kind of get a sense of what is my backyard going to look like? How are these items going to function? Even something kind of as small as that of like, what are going to be the button prompts for me on my phone to make sure that this is usable? So I appreciate you guys both coming by. It's been fantastic to be able to chat with you and get this larger picture and put a spotlight on Fluidra, because I know you guys are doing so much work behind the scenes, and you're what allow us to build the product that we do in a lot of ways. So I'm glad that we had a chance to have this conversation and get you guys out there in the spotlight that you deserve.
Luke,
Sweet.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much.
And I'll say to all your viewers, you see us in those shows, come out there. Sometimes it does get a little hectic. There's a lot going on, but definitely take the time, say hi, get to know us. We're definitely reaching out and trying to see you guys as much as possible at distribution or wherever we can run into you. But ask the questions, because if I don't have the answer, if Eric doesn't have the answer, we're blessed to have the resources to find the answers. So,
and we want to do our best to assist you. So we're not used car salesmen. We're just here to have a conversation and talk to you, and kind of show you why our products are better and why we can serve you better than the competition or anyone else.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's been great to have you here for this episode and for my conversation with both O'Neill and Eric. We hope you'll continue to join us for future episodes. And if you want to watch any of our previous ones, you can find those on YouTube, Spotify, and whenever you get your podcasts. And we'll see you next time.